It's been quite a day, and a really, really a good one. Since I'm having a hard time seeing the road, so I thought I would just stop, since it's really hard to see. And yeah, for a bit, I haven't done a vlog for a while. I have not done a vlog for a while. Not that I have anything thrilling to say, but I like to keep up with myself. But I'll tell you what happened. Okay, so, here's my drink. Where could I be inconspicuous? Everywhere. Everywhere. Nobody sees me sometimes. And sometimes everybody sees me, but nobody really hears me. Nobody hears me. So I make videos, and yeah, I even know that, like, if you're watching my video, you're probably not like listening to word for word, but talking amongst yourselves. It's really hard to find people who know how to listen. Like, was it never taught to people that it's important to listen to others? And anywho, all right. I went to Little Rock today. It was a gorgeous day. Arkansas has been like hot, that we are cowering in the house and sometimes so lethargic that we don't want to do nothing. So right now I'm just kicking back here in a parking lot somewhere in which is just like 2 hours south of Deep Shit, Arkansas. Actually, no, like 2.5 hours. And I keep stopping, but I'm also debating whether I really want to go home at all, because it is quite hard to see. It's a dark night, other than the moon, but it's quite dark, and the country roads and everything are curvy. Oh my gosh, there's wildlife. There's wildlife like crazy in Arkansas. This is the natural state. I haven't nearly hit anything tonight, but when I worked as a nurse for like 20 years in this state, I would drive like 3.5, 4 hours to my job. And it was like almost every night. It was almost hitting something. Yeah, almost hitting some kind of an animal stories. I'm just sitting here yapping, trying to decide if I even want to go home tonight. His phone's about to die, so I'll let you know where I go, because inquiring minds want to know. Ciao for now. I'm super drunk. I have no data on my phone. None. Zip. I had data, and then poof, it was gone. And I cannot figure out, I've tried everything, figure out how to restore it. And this camera's gonna die. La-di-da. What am I going to do? I still have my other phone that, yeah, you know, if I make it to Heber Springs tonight, but this looks like a really nice place. And there's like Red River camping over that way. I think it's called Red River. And Red River is promising. That means like there's road. And one more thing. While I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life and my night. I would say 99% easy of the time. Any man for sure has gotten mad at me. It's all over bullshit. It's like I didn't sin, but I'm in all this trouble with whoever, just whoever. Anytime guys have gotten mad at me, I'd say more than 99% of the time, it's not because I've done anything or said anything, or it's because of things that they make up in their little minds. Now at work, whenever I've gotten in trouble at work, I would say like 1 out of 5 times, maybe 2 out of 5 times, on average, the people were correct. I think even less than that. I think 1 out of 5 times. Yeah, that would probably be, yeah. I don't know. Most of the time people call the office over bullshit too, so it's another story. I'm just saying, why have I gotten so much trouble in my life when I'm so damn adorable? You know, I don't know. Okay, bye. Okay, I was returning from Little Rock because I have joined a scientific study, and I was screened for the study like for hours in Little Rock that day. And then I went shopping for a while, and so it was quite dark. Well, actually it was 10:30 p.m. by the time I decided to stay in Heber Springs for the night. Basically, I had no map. It was too dark to see. I had blurry eyes from allergies. I'm afraid of the dark highways and the twists and the turns. So I was trying to turn and there was cars behind me and I was going too slow and trying to visualize the exact turn, and I did that a couple of times. I was getting nervous. I never liked driving in the dark, and it's quite dangerous because there's a lot of wild animals, and so I decided not to drive and to go back to Heber Springs to wait it out until daylight. So, okay, my vision felt impaired. I thought I shouldn't drive if I can't see. The safest thing for me and everyone is to pull over in the well-lit town of Heber Springs where I could see just fine. I went to McDonald's for Wi-Fi. I started browsing the waterfalls and Sugarloaf Mountain, and I got so excited. I decided to stay for a day of exploring and couldn't wait to come back to Heber Springs because there's so much here to see. So many beautiful places in that little town. It was approximately 11 p.m. I had a lot of stuff in my van that needed to be sorted and to make a bed so I could feel rested for my exploration and then my 2-hour trip home. I sorted out my van for about 3 hours. Clothes for friends, clothes for me, my paperwork, other paperwork, stuff for Goodwill, clothes that I'm going to wear tomorrow, homework for my study. I took all the trash out, and talked to family and friends on the telly. Okay, now I had two phones. They both didn't have data, right? So, and my main camera phone was completely dead. What I needed was an outdoor charger. I wanted to take pictures of the waterfalls. I wanted to go to all 3 waterfalls if I could, but regardless, I needed my camera. I had to take pictures, right? Okay, so I needed an outside charger. I found one easily across the street at Ace Hardware, in front of the store, in a well-lit area and under a light in the open. Perfect, I thought. Or so I thought. I was quite exhausted and sleepy and often dizzy from my allergies, which my doc and I have not yet got under control for the last 6 months. Also, I had a blocked eustachian tube, right? For 2 weeks I had that. And, it flares up when you're driving, those things do. It made my ear hurt, and it affects your balance straight out. And so does dizziness. Duh. So while I was waiting for my phone to charge, and plug in at Ace Hardware, I fixed my bed and started blocking the windows. I put on a tank top, took off my bra. It was too uncomfortable. Took off my shoes. I took my meds. All of my meds cause intense thirst, by the way. Reference. Somewhere in the above time, I remembered that I had a small amount of marijuana that was given to me that day, and I put a small bud into my pipe and took one drag, and that was enough, right? To tell me relax and wait for the phone to charge. I was getting ready for bed, and that's what I did. I do not like to drive when I'm impaired. I'll tell you about that later if there's enough time. Alrighty, so now I gotta find the next piece. So yeah, I was hoping that after my phone charged, I would be able to take a power nap somewhere. Not exactly right there, but perhaps at McDonald's. And while I wait 2-3 hours for breakfast time, and then get all my maps together for the exploration the next day. Alrighty, so I was still just waiting for my phone to charge. I was halfway between sleep and awake, and probably, yes, I do think I dozed for less than 30 minutes, right? So when I saw the bright lights behind me, there was a moment of confusion. Then I soon realized it's the police. I hope I'm not breaking the law, I thought. Anyway, I just kind of sat there and wondered, they're probably going to tell me to move, and I'll explain to them about the phone, and I really didn't feel like I had done anything wrong, but let me continue. So when I see the bright lights behind, I soon met Officer Moore. He asked my name and for my paperwork. I gave him everything: insurance, license, and registration. And soon he saw my pipe. It was under the dashboard ring. Yeah, he saw it. I left it out. That was my biggest mistake of the night. Okay, and I'm not going to say that to the judge either. Before I begin with the police story, I want to note that I was completely coherent, cooperative, polite, and respectful the entire time. And I mean the entire freaking time. Like, once I'm in jail, all the time I'm in jail, solitary confinement. And when I had to get my car out of stores, and that mean guy, whoa, rudest guy, like, he was the rudest man that I think I ever met as far as business owner. Okay, well, it's all a money game, right? Cops wanted the money, tow truck guy, money, so he's going to make it as hard as he can to get the car out, because the more days it takes you to figure everything out, the better for him. I overheard the lady at the dispatch inform the officers that my record was completely clean. Yay me. Okay. Officer Moore searched my car very, very, very thoroughly as far as I could tell. I was very thirsty from my medications, but I'm always thirsty. I promise you, I'm always thirsty. The first thing I do, I always have a drink near me. If I go outside, definitely if I'm going to town, mostly water. I had a V8 in the car. Alright, okay. Now I want to mention that I asked and begged for water constantly for hours, and I was promised water, but never given it until I was in my jail cell, and then I could drink from the faucet. My dry mouth was soon obvious and debilitating. Okay, it was like this, alright? And it was obvious, and I couldn't. I mean, I just couldn't. But it never is that bad because I'm always drinking. It's never been that bad that I ever remember in my life. My dry mouth was soon obvious and debilitating. My lips were sticking to my gums. I could barely talk. This thirst was literally torturous. I have never been so thirsty in my life because I constantly have fluids near me, always. I could soon see that depriving me of my basic need of water was a power and dominance tactic. I am absolutely certain on this point. So until my cell, I begged every few minutes. I was promised water many times by the 4 officers that I encountered, and I was never given a drink. To be honest, it would have taken more than a drink, but and when you need water, you need water. Your mouth is dry all the time. It's not going to even be cured by a sip. I'm thirsty right now, right? Okay. Officer Moore didn't find any contraband in my car, in my van. I gave him what I had, less than 1/8 ounce of marijuana. Before I even left my van, he confiscated my driver's license and said I would get a temporary license. Then while the other officer searched my van, Officer Moore began interrogating me. No Miranda rights given at any time. So, how much meth have you done today? I haven't done any meth. Where are you hiding your meth? I don't have any meth. How much meth do you do? I don't do meth, just weed. What other drugs do you take? Well, 1/2 of clonazepam for sleep and maybe 1/2 of Vicodin if I'm ever in pain. Prescribed. Yeah. So the interrogation was basically over, and yeah, he's not supposed to. He can't use those against me, for sure, if I'm not giving my Miranda rights. But yeah, so I was never given any rights, and I didn't know that I could call a lawyer or whatever. As we were performing a series of tests, it was obvious that Officer Moore intended to take me to jail. I was certain that he was trying to make me fail, and I was certain that he was enjoying his dominance over me while giving me constant instructions. Constant. I've also read since then that sobriety tests are not meant to be passed. Surprise. It's like catch-22 everywhere, right? The main reliable test for intoxication is, I'm gonna find out the official name, the follow the pen test, right? I follow the pen with my eyes while he shines a flashlight towards my eyes. Okay, that is the main test that can determine if you're sober or intoxicated. And he did it for a long time. He did it as far out as he can, you know. I'm really straining my eyes. I'm not even joking. And really high up in the, you know, so it strained my eyes for sure. And then he did it twice, right? Maybe because, you know, as he's saying orders constantly, you know, there was a tendency to move my head to try to, oh, keep your head still. So yeah, we did that test twice. Seems like there was another test where I put my head up, but since I'm not sure, I'll leave it out. Okay. Anyway, I passed. Okay, so here's me. I'm exhausted. I'm scared. I'm worried. I am suffering from severe dry mouth. Alright. I'm wearing a tank top with no bra. And it is revealing, right? I have no shoes on. Shall we continue? Alright. As as he began demonstrating the next sobriety test, walking a straight line, you know, heel toe, 9 steps, little tiny baby turns, heel toe, you know, 9 steps on this line, on a slant, by the way. Okay, 9 steps back. All right. Okay. I understood everything the officer was telling me throughout this too. I was completely understanding of the test. I was completely, you know, not. I just wasn't embarrassed. All right. But I did tell him that I may have a hard time with the balance test, the balance exercises, because I have had dizziness every day for the last 6 months. Also, my eustachian tube had been clogged for the last 2 weeks, and traveling with the windows open, no air conditioner, you know, that doesn't help, right? It was very clogged and my ear was hurting, actually, but I didn't get to say all that. I just tell him about the dizziness, and it lasted 6 months, and that my doctor is aware of it, and we have not got it under control at this time. Right. So he heard, but he didn't care. After all, he intended to take me to jail. I understood his commands perfectly. I performed the 9-step test. Anyways, in spite of the dizziness and you know, it's not like I'm dizzy constantly. I'm dizzy a lot and throughout the day and every day, right? But even if you're not dizzy, there's kind of like a fuzziness that feels like being tired, you know, and so if I turn my head too fast this way, I get dizzy. I have not slept on this side in 6 months because I can't. The room starts swirling. So yeah, it's real and it's there, and it affects my life. I understood his commands perfectly. I passed again. Most importantly, we were on a slant for both of the balance exercises. I think it was a wheelchair ramp, and there were some yellow lines across. We did the walk the line. Definitely we're on a slant. He knew that, but he's gonna lie about this. Okay, I suppose it was a wheelchair ramp for Ace Hardware. This is important. First, it demonstrates that these were no ideal conditions for my sobriety test, or any sobriety. Neither was my dizzy condition. Second, Officer Moore lied about being on the slant for the second balance test when we go to the station. He lies about that, all right? He said, we were only on the slant for the first balance test, then we moved to the sidewalk. I would have remembered that for sure. And so would he, but I mean, he just made it up. No, sir, that's incorrect. We did both the balance tests in exactly the same place. There was really like, I don't know, there was really no reply after that, or I think he said, I don't want to debate you. Like, well, I don't blame you, officer. Because I'm pretty good at debate. I'm not good at proving. I'm not good at proving that somebody lied to me or that they cheated. If it's an officer, I'm not really good at that. But yeah, I'm good at logic and I'm good at debate. He demonstrated the third test. I could see his advantage with those great big enormous shoes he had. They weren't going anywhere, right? Plus he was short and squatty, and you know, I mean, you could just tell that being was no anyway. Right. And also years of practice, you know. So no doubt, I was going to say, hold your foot 6 inches from the ground and stay until I tell you to put your foot down. I was worried about this one because, as I previously told him, the dizziness. I didn't mention the slant at that time, but definitely there was that. But I had no practice. I can do balance exercises with practice, but okay. Anyway, as I've said before, and will say again, at best, this one is only 65% accurate, this test. And that doesn't mean 65% of the people pass it. It means that it's 65% accurate, meaning 65% can tell if you're wasted or not, but not if you can actually do it or not. I figured that one out on my own. Okay, so I had done everything perfectly until this. I did not feel stoned or intoxicated in any way. Just scared, embarrassed because of my clothing, agony over intense thirst, and I knew this test was going to be difficult for me. Okay. Research at home informed me that this very test, in the best of conditions, was only 65% accurate. My condition of dizziness and distraction of thirst, nervousness, awkwardness because of my clothing, clogged eustachian tube, and the environmental conditions of being on a slant put the odds against me, along with the absolute knowledge that he was trying to bust me. And I read twice at home that sobriety tests are not meant to be passed. Go figure. So I tried. I could only keep my foot up for a few seconds. Can't use your arms for balance, and started hopping around. He said, "You're intoxicated, you're under arrest." Bing! Everything perfect until that 65% accurate test on the slant. Maybe, everything. I was jumping through all those hoops, with no bra on, Cloudy Station 2, right? I did it all until that. I begged him to try again. No way, Jose. I asked him to allow my sons to pick up my van. No, it's going to impound. Money. Okay. Crime syndicate. So I'm handcuffed. I'm in the police car trying to accept my fate. No Miranda rights given at any time. At the station for a strip search. First strip search. Humiliating, but I survived. They found nothing, of course. Yeah. This is for a hit of weed. Alright. Constantly asking everyone for water. After this, after that, after, or in a minute, or you got to do this first. But not one person kept their word. It's all about control and dominance. Pretty much everybody, until the angelic being that let me out the next day, treated me like a criminal from that time forward, right? And I'm innocent until proven guilty. No officer knows that ever. It's all a control and dominance exercise. Bet your ass. I also told 4 officers, including Officer Moore, that I believe the sobriety test was unfair. Nobody cared about my needs all this time, or what I said, or any defense. Nobody cared, right? There was a generalized feeling of coldness. Unaccommodating people were just, they live there. They live there at that jail. Okay. Nobody gave me a phone call. And Karen, I'm going to stop. I'm trying to, I'll do better at court. This is practice. Okay, lack of compassion for the duration of my stay. Absolutely. Alright. I knew I would pass, because I don't like to drink very much, hardly at all, and I certainly didn't that day or on this trip, or really, any trip, I'm not going to drink, right? So anyway, I took the blood test twice. I think that's standard, right? And I passed, but no snaps. You know, he doesn't say, yeah, he doesn't tell me how well I'm doing. Alright. So, while Officer Moore was explaining the next test, or before, or whatever, during our 15 minutes we had to wait for the next blow test, I discussed with him the unfairness of the sobriety test. Let me do it now on this flat surface. No. No. Besides, we only did one of the balance tests on the asphalt. We moved up to the sidewalk for the stand on 1 foot one. Sir, we did not move up to the sidewalk. Both the balance tests were on the slanted asphalt. I spoke quietly, calmly, and respectfully throughout the entire time. I'm just throwing that in because that's how I was then, and that's how I was throughout. Right. Basically, I was exactly where he wanted me to be. No turning back. No reason possible. No compassion. That's, yeah, a long time ago, right? Then, okay, then he explained the urine test. Okay, he explained the urine test. All right, he read me this paragraph on the urine test, right? Whatever it said, right? And I'm not saying now that he didn't explain correctly. What I understood was that if I refuse, I will get my license taken away and go to jail, right? That's what I understood. Oh yes, and also that the concentration of my urine, it's very concentrated, it's going to equal a DUI anyway, right? So after he explained those things to me, and that's what I understood, he asked, will you take this test? No, sir. Now, he's not supposed to ask me the reason because he didn't read me my rights, right? Okay. But at some point, inquiring minds, whatever, soon after I said, I'm already in jail and my license has already been taken away. I don't see, the difference in taking this test and basically giving more evidence. I don't see the difference, I could not see the difference between taking the test and not taking the test, right? Okay, so right here, right now, okay, if there was any clarification that could have been offered on his part, for instance, you'll be in even more trouble if you don't take this test, or you'll, you could be in jail for a longer time, was not made clear, right? The results for not taking the test, I understand now that they're more severe than what I was already facing, And one more point on this, or we'll see how many more. Okay. Okay, so also it was the THC content, right? And I know I didn't verbalize this part to him, but I don't know the concentration of my THC, right? So that would have been DUI if I took it, and DUI if I didn't, quite possibly. But either way, what I do know is that there was THC in my urine, and yeah, there's no doubt about that. So I'm guilty of having there be THC in my urine. The thing is, THC detected in the urine, right? You can't tell when it's from. You can't. It doesn't go out of your system, right? In 4 or 5 days, or in several weeks, and sometimes several months, right? So it doesn't say anything about my content for that night, or how under the influence I was for that night. So I think I don't know. I just still don't think the urine test would have worked for me, and I hope I'm right. I don't know. Okay. So how am I feeling after I said that and after all this, right? My thoughts. This man intended to take me to jail. He lied to me on several occasions. I was already making a mental list of his lies, right? Especially, 5 or 10 minutes ago about that we were not on a slant. He made me fail the last test. He lied many times about, he will give me water after this, after that, as well as everybody else, right? I had been completely cooperative, clear in my communication. He was treating me like I was guilty the entire time, Before I'm out of the car, he had already taken my license from me at that time, before I was out of that, right? Even though I was neither intoxicated, nor did I have any intention of driving until the light of day. I guess that's it. I was neither driving nor intoxicated. I'm not going to plead guilty to a DUI, right? Alright. Plus, when he mentioned concentration of the urine that could amount to a DUI, I had no idea what my urine concentration would be. I was tired of helping this controlling, lying, uncompassionate man find evidence against me. Try to, anyway. I admit now that most certainly there would be THC in my urine. As you know, THC could be detected for weeks or even months later. This test would reveal nothing about my current intoxication or lack of intoxication. I did not completely understand that refusal would result in too much more consequences than I was currently experiencing. I was in jail. DUI, right? Most likely. And they had evidence against me. They took away my license. Fines were coming. My car's an impound. They had I couldn't see that there would be a huge difference. And I'm telling you right now, there was THC in my urine. Right there. I just took the test right here, and I'll take it again in court or whenever I need to. Finally, I just didn't feel like peeing in front of another person. I had had enough humiliation for one night. No compassion, no water. So it's onward to my cell, which was in fact solitary confinement cell. Steel door, blocked out windows. And it lived up to its name, because here I would soon find out what it's like to be ignored for many hours, treated guilty by all. And I learned very quickly that in a minute means never. I have already forgotten all about you. So anyway, I'm in my cell, and last but not least, I was denied my phone call. I was probably in my cell by 6:30ish. They told me I could have, what he said on the way to the cell, I could have one call an hour, right? Anyway, no, no. I soon started knocking on the door and asking for a phone, and there were people out there. But, I was able to make two phone calls, 2 5-minute calls simultaneously, and really that was it. Right? Okay, so I'm not going to go into that whole thing right now. Yeah, this is just the main story of the arrest. All right. Anyway, I will save my last line right now. I was ignored for my phone call until approximately 9 a.m. And that's the time I just broke down crying. I was wailing out crying. I don't know if they heard me, but that's when she said, "Do you need anything?" do want to make honorable mention to this gorgeous, and I mean gorgeous, angelic being who was the very last one to open that little window and say, what do you need? And of course I told him, sir, I've been here asking for to make a phone call and to call my friend that I'm supposed to take to the police, and I'm wondering about when I'm going to get out of here because I heard the judge had said when I could leave. Nobody's telling me. He said, well, right after breakfast, we're going to get you out of here. And I just knew that he was telling me the truth. That one angelic mist. The ordeal definitely carried on quite considerably the next day, but that's way more than enough for the overall jail effect and what it's like to spend a night in Heber Springs, Arkansas.